All right, all you future lawyers out there, let's talk about something that's not just on your exam, but is literally the foundation of, well, almost all of business law. I'm talking about the company. If you can get your head around this, you're not just ready for a question, you're ready to understand how the entire corporate world ticks. So let's jump right in.
Okay, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, what exactly is a company? Then we'll get into the cornerstone legal principle. This one's a biggie. After that, we'll look at its main pillars, the different types of companies you need to know, and wrap it all up with some landmark case law that you can and should use in your answers. So what is a company, really? I mean, in the eyes of the law. Seems simple, right? But believe me, the legal answer to this one question is the difference between a local Kirana store and a massive multinational. It's all about who owns what, who's on the hook for debts, and who takes the fall when things go south. All right, first things first. Let's go straight to the source, the official blueprint. This is what the law itself says, and it's your go-to starting point for any exam answer on the topic. Okay, check this out. Section 2, subsection 20. At first glance, it seems almost too simple, doesn't it? A company means a company incorporated, but hey, the whole secret sauce is in that one word, incorporated. See, a company isn't just a bunch of people who get together to do business. It has to be legally born, registered under the Act. If you don't do that, you've got a partnership, maybe, but you do not have a company. That legal definition is a bit dry, right? It tells you how a company is formed, but not really what it is in essence. So, for the spirit of the law, let's look at this fantastic quote from Lord Justice Lindley. He talks about people coming together, putting in money or money's worth into a common stock to achieve some common purpose. This really gets to the core idea, the why of it all. Okay, deep breaths. We are now at the main event. Seriously, this is the one concept that changes everything in company law. If you can properly understand this one principle, I promise you everything else we talk about today is going to make perfect sense. And here it is. The principle of separate legal personality. What does that mean? It means the law basically creates an imaginary person, an artificial person. This legal person can't eat or sleep, but it can do almost everything else. It can own property, sue someone, be sued, and rack up its own debts. It creates this invisible wall, a corporate veil, between the company and the people who own it. And the case that cemented this whole idea? The one and only, the legendary Solomon versus Solomon. So, the story behind this case is super important. You had this guy, Mr. Solomon, who created a company and sold his business to it. Later, the company goes bust, and the creditors are knocking on his door. They're saying, hey, this company is just you. Give us your personal money. But the House of Lords said, nope. The company is one person, Mr. Solomon is another. The company's debts belong to the company, not him. And boom, just like that, the legal shield that protects business owners was created. This case is, no exaggeration, the bedrock of modern business. Okay, so we've got our separate legal person. Now, what special powers does this person have? Let's break down its core characteristics, and pay attention here, because these are the exact points you'll want to list in your exam answers to score big. Look at this list. Every single one of these characteristics flows from that one big idea of a separate legal entity. Perpetual succession, that just means the company can live forever, even after its founders are gone. Limited liability, that's the shield from Solomon we talked about, protecting your personal stuff. Transferability of shares, that's because you're not selling a piece of the building, you're selling a share in this separate legal person. Get these down cold. They are absolutely essential. Right, so we know what a company is in theory. Now let's get practical. What are the different types of companies out there? The Companies Act gives us a few ways to classify them, kind of like different models of the same car. First step, we can classify them based on how they're born. You've got chartered companies like the old East India Company. Think of them as historical artifacts. Then you have statutory companies, which are special bigwigs like LIC or RBI, created by their own act of parliament. But for you, the most important one, the one you'll see 99.9% of the time, are the registered companies, formed by following the process in the Companies Act 2013. Now this is a big one, a very common exam question, classifying by liability. This is all about risk. The most common type is limited by shares. It's simple. Your liability is limited to whatever you haven't paid on your shares. That's it. Your house is safe. Then there's limited by guarantee, which you usually see with nonprofits and clubs. Here, members promise to chip in a fixed amount if the company closes down. And finally, unlimited companies, well, the name says it all. Your personal property is on the line. It's pretty rare, and you can probably guess why. The classic showdown, private versus public company. This is an absolute must-know. The easiest way to remember the difference is to think about it like a club. A private company is like an exclusive club. It restricts who can become a member or shareholder, and it can't ask the general public for money. A public company, on the other hand, is open to everyone. It can go to the public, list on the stock market, and raise massive amounts of cash from anyone who wants to invest. And then the Companies Act of 2013 introduced something really cool for all the solo entrepreneurs out there, the one-person company, or OPC. This was a total game changer. Before this, you always needed at least 2 people. Now just one person can form a company and get all those juicy benefits, especially that all-important limited liability shield. This has been a huge boost for startups in India. Okay, companies often have complex relationships, almost like families. So we also classify them based on control. You've got the holding company, that's the parent. The company it controls is the subsidiary, that's the child. And then you have the associate company. Think of this as like an influential uncle. The holding company has significant influence but not outright control. And our final way of slicing this cake is by ownership. It's pretty straightforward. If the government holds 51% or more of the shares, surprise, surprise, it's a government company. If it was incorporated outside India but has a place of business here, we call it a foreign company. And pretty much everything else falls under the umbrella of a non-government company. All right, we've covered a lot of theory, but as you know, law isn't just theory, it's made in the courtroom. So let's look at a couple more landmark cases that really push these principles to the limit. And trust me, mentioning these cases in your exam answers, that's what separates a good answer from a great one. So get this. The case of Lee versus Lee's air farming took that Solomon principle and stretched it as far as it could go. It asked a really mind-bending question. Can you be the owner, the main director, and a regular employee of your own company all at the same time? And the court's answer was a resounding yes. The logic was simple. The company is one person, and Mr. Lee is another. So, of course, the company could enter into a contract of employment with Mr. Lee. It's a powerful reminder that this whole separate legal entity thing isn't just some legal fiction on paper. It has very, very real consequences. But wait, if a company is a legal person, does that mean it's also a citizen? Can it claim the fundamental rights guaranteed by our Constitution, just like you and me? This is a huge question, and it went all the way up to our Supreme Court. And here, the Supreme Court drew a very important line in the sand. They said, yes, a company is a legal person. It can own things, it can sue, but it is not a natural person. It's an artificial entity. And because of that, it cannot be a citizen and cannot claim the fundamental rights that are meant for actual living, breathing human beings. And that's our deep dive. From the basic definition to the landmark cases, this is the essential DNA of a company. Nailing these concepts will be crucial for your exams. But I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. As you go forward, think about this. If a company truly is a person in the eyes of the law, what should that mean for things like justice and accountability in our modern world? It's a huge question, and the answer continues to shape everything around us. All the best with your preparation.